In this video, we're building German yard lights, saving up to 9% and maintaining the details.
Hello and welcome to a video tutorial in the middle of the summer. Yeah, it's actually 8th of July today, and this will be the one video in July. I'm taking 2 or 3 weeks off. I'm going down to a railway club here in Sweden. They are running steamers on almost daily basis, and we're gonna have a look at what the weathering looks like in real life down there. But that's coming up mid-August. In this video, we're gonna make yard lights in German style. Yeah, when you're building a yard, whatever type of yard you're doing, if it's a passenger or goods freight type yard, you need a lot of these yard lights. And they're kind of pricey. If you don't have a problem with that, well, that's lucky you, but I prefer a method where I get the same outcome, meaning a super detailed yard light, but paying only 10% of the cost. So here goes.
I'm gonna 3D print the masts for this project using my Anycubic Photon M3 Plus. So let's start it up, and we'll see here now it starts filling the tray with resin. And meanwhile, while that is happening, we'll go out on the internet to a site called cgtrader.com, and in the search window here, we'll search for DET, Detail 0003, which is yard detail set for Germany. And here you have it. Yeah. And this set now contains 15 different items for German yard. I tried to print this. This prints in one part, looks very nice. I just added the clear window panes. So that was another thing in the same set. There are also buffers and other stuff included. But we're gonna print the masts in this video. And I download that drawing package. Open my files window here in the Anycubic app. Press on the light mast type 1. All parts. All part means that it's the masts, it's the lights, and also the sockets. And we assign it to the free printer M3 Plus. Okay, so then the printing process can start. And as we're waiting, this prints the masts for us. That's great. So first thing we're going to do is to cut these away from the supports. The support is a kind of plate which hold them in place during the print process, which needs to be removed before we can start assembling the parts. All of these drawing from Model Railroad 3D come with the supports already, but if you're doing them themselves in your computer, you should think that they should give sufficient support but not be tricky to remove. That's the balance when making supports. And once they're removed from support, we're gonna post-cure them in the post-curer. Before that happens, make sure that all the holes have the correct diameters and not have resin leftovers stuck in there, because then all the holes will be too small. So I run 4-minute post-curing. You can also put them out in the sun if you don't have any post-curer. Now we also need 1.5mm brass tubing, and well, it might not be the standard way, but I cut my brass tubing in small diameter using a razor blade. It's actually pretty good, and you don't get all that much burr. That's the advantage. We also need a 0.2mm diameter isolated copper wire. This one's from Distrelec, has item number 55172330. And I cut 2 pieces for each mast, and I feed them through this brass tubing. So now I'm making 4 masts in this batch, and this is what it looks like. So the copper wires is longer, about 3 decimeters or 1 foot. Then we're gonna bend these brass tubes, so we get the look we're looking for here. So that's the first band. We're gonna make a second band up here like this. And then we can insert the lamp hood like that. If you like, you can fasten it using fast set glue, but it sticks pretty well to the brass tubing. The reason for using brass tubing here is that you cannot print bent tubes with this thin diameter in resin. They will be all filled with resin and it will just be a mess. So you need brass tubing to make these kind of installations. So, but the brass tubing fits well both in the lamp hood and in the mast, so it's just to insert, if you like, as said, fasten it with fast set glue. Then it's removing the isolation up in the mast top. First here, because we're going to solder SMD LEDs. This type of LEDs can also be purchased from companies like Distrelec or DigiKey. It's a warm white LED with some larger package, because I think it's tricky to solder the smallest ones. And what I do, I typically apply them on a double-sided adhesive so it stays in place when I solder the copper wires to it. So like this. Be careful not to add too much heat to your soldering iron, because then the will melt. Now, to avoid light bleeding of the lamp hood, we need to paint it both on the inside and on the outside with black. So I'm using an acrylic black paint from Vallejo, and I'm painting it, as said, both on the inside and on the outside. This prevents the lights from kind of leaking through the transparent plastic, or, well, it's apricot transparent actually. So I'm painting it all over like this. Now you can grab the copper wires in the mast base and pull gently so the LED comes into the lamp hood. Just bend the copper wires so you get the right angle there of your SMD, and then fasten the copper wires inside the mast using fast set glue. And then I have a series resistors in series with a plus pole here. It's a 1 kilo ohm, and that works. Well, that's nice. Now let's paint the mast now. I'm mixing olive green with white, also acrylic paints, and I typically use 2 parts olive green with 1 part white. The reason for doing that is to get it, well, a bit brighter olive than original olive color here. This is a pretty close match to what you see line side or in your yards in Germany. It's also almost identical to the other manufacturers and the color they use. This is the mast socket. It is screwed using the Märklin screw for M tracks or equivalent. So I screw it into the plywood, feed the cable through a hole next to that socket, and then it's just to slide in the mast into the socket like this. Okay, the paint was not entirely dry there, but you see it's working properly. And this is what the 3D printed masts looks like when assembled in place in the yard. And we're going to get a comparison video here on the manufacturer's mast, and they look like this. So not much of a difference there. Actually, it's very hard to see the difference between these, except on the price tag. I also managed to get the light output quite similar. The one to the right here is the manufacturer light, and mine is to the left.
All right, so I saw that there were printers now, the Mono 4K, so they have really come down in price. So 3D printers are not more expensive than, paper printers today. So, that's an update which not too many are aware of. So, hey, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have use for the information and method provided in the video. Did you know that this channel is totally dependent on its Patreon? People supporting the channel on monthly basis to keep all this going, meaning battery replacement, camera replacement, lights, and all the stuff that's needed to keep a channel going. If you want to be one of the good guys, get over to Patreon. Set up a support account there from, you know, like $1-2 per month, or make a one-off donation using the PayPal dialog found in the video description below. And if you haven't yet subscribe and enable that little bell, and you will get a notification once next video gets published. And until that happens, see ya.